Okay, I'm going to call our meeting to order. Today is March 27, 2018. This is a business meeting of the North Kingstown School Committee. If I could ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Glassbach?
Here.
Mrs. Hoskins? Here. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. McGovern? Ms. Stevens? Mrs. Schott?
Here.
And student representatives.
Thank you. And could you please call the calendar?
On Tuesday, April 10th, 2018, there will be a school committee business meeting.
Thank you. And so next on our agenda are presentations and recognitions. Dr. O'Shea?
Okay, Dr. Hubbard, do you have anything before I start?
I do, yeah. We have a congratulations to Gabriella Neves for placing second in this year's Donate Life Rhode Island High School poster contest. That was under the direction of art teacher Janice Strain. And for placing second, she will receive a Samsung Galaxy tablet at the Rhode Island State House on April 2nd, where they will award the students. And just an FYI that we had Project Close Up, and over the past week, 8 students from NK High School spent time in our nation's capital, met some of our legislators.
Thank you.
And a lot of NK students spent a lot of time in Providence this weekend at the All-State concerts. North Kingstown had more students involved in All-State in terms of strings, band, and chorus combined than any other district in Rhode Island. Tony Silvera is has a leadership role in the Rhode Island Music Educators Program, so she was a big part of running the All-State program, and Mike Ayadavaya led the Rhode Island All-State Band, so a lot of great representation over there. And tonight we have a very special presentation for NKHS student Allison Hornick. And so we're going to introduce Dr. Manseri and Mr. Bob Verdi from Prudential Financial to make the presentation.
I'm going to stay right here. Be close.
Good evening, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be here tonight to honor a very special young woman. My company, Prudential Financial, in partnership with the National Association of Secondary Principals, sponsors the Prudential Spirit of Community Awards. This is a national program, honors middle school and high school students for outstanding voluntary service. Thousands of young people across the country are considered for this award, the 2018 Spirit Community Award. From all of these, one middle school and one high school student in each state and the District of Columbia are selected for this special recognition. Okay, so there's 2 people per state, okay? And here in Rhode Island, I'm delighted to report our top high school honoree is our own Allison Hornick. Allie, will you please come forward? And Allie has been singled out from all the high school students in Rhode Island for outstanding service to her community. Allie organized a fashion runway show and other fundraisers over a 6-week period that yielded $43,000 to help find a cure for blood cancers after a close friend was diagnosed with leukemia. Allie, we want you to come to Washington, D.C. this April to join all the other honorees, okay, from across the country for a 4-day special recognition events, okay? And during the trip, you will be presented a $1,000 award, okay, and be considered for one of the top national awards. There's 10 of them, okay, so that's next month. So let me just get this last little thing here. Now I got to get the, don't go anywhere. And this is the special medallion from Prudential Financial that you get to. And this is a well-deserved honor for what she did. How you ever raise that much money in 6 weeks is amazing.
Alan, do you want to tell anybody what you plan on doing or what
Okay.
your plans are? If you want to take a second to do that, you certainly
Can you step over by the
Yeah,
podium, because
yeah.
the microphone will pick it up, thanks.
Okay. So, my goal during the 6-week campaign was to raise $50,000 because my friend Grace was diagnosed with pre-B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia when she was 11 years old. And Grace is now in remission, and she's doing great. But I have another friend, well, she's like my little sister, Ella, who still is battling cancer, and she just turned 13. So I decided that this year, during the Student of the Year campaign, I want to hit my $50,000 goal and raise the $7,000 in the 10 weeks to come. So it would be really cool if I won the National Prudential Award, because then I would receive a $5,000 grant towards my goal of $50,000. But I just wanted to thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So this is, we need to keep that in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda are citizens' comments. We have a list if you signed up or if you would like to speak.
The word is pretty sizable right there. Yeah.
Some serious bling.
Is it published somewhere how we can make donations?
Yeah, I have a GoFundMe page right now. I think it's like it's on my Facebook. On my Facebook, it's Ali Ali Hornung HORNUNG.
Great, I'll find it.
Thank you. And I posted it.
So the first person signed up for the citizens' comments is Joseph Baker. Could you please state your name and address?
Good evening, Superintendent Ogier and members of the committee. My name is Joe Baker. I live at 209 Edmund Drive in North Kingstown. First of all, congratulations. It's a wonderful thing to see some members of the community really, doing way more than their own part. So really commend you on your accomplishments. Congratulations. I wanted to come to the school committee tonight and say thank you to Dr. Ogier and to members of the committee who have been listening to us. I've been coming for a number of months, talking about conditions at Quidnesset, talking about issues that needed resolution, needed corrections, needed someone to listen and help to change things. I'd like to report the good news as well. I don't just want to stand here and say when things aren't going right. I know through Dr. Ogier's efforts, as well as members of the committee and the principals and the administrative staff at Quidnesset, there have been some temporary changes that have been made over the last several weeks, and those are having an effect in a very positive way. Our kids know that we've come to school committee meetings every other Tuesday night now for the last few months, and it means Nana comes over and makes dinner for them and everything, which they love it. But they know, and so they know we're talking about their school, but they don't know exactly what the issues are that are taking place behind the scenes. But when they've come home over the last several weeks to report that things are better at school, things have changed. They've reported new faces in the building that they hadn't seen before, and they're noticing that some of the kids that needed a little bit more time with somebody are seeing that time, which is allowing them to have the interactive experience that they need with their own classroom teacher. So I know there's still a lot to do that has to be done, but I do want to report the good news as much as the bad news. And I know that there are plans for the FY18 budget to make some of those changes more permanent. We go into the town council meetings as well to continue to make sure that message gets to them as well. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Next is Michael Montoya. And again, if you could just restate your name and your address, please.
Sure. Michael Montoya, 31 Lawn Avenue. Good evening. I think we've all corresponded, but this is the first time that we've all met. And congratulations to Ali. And I hate to be a damper on the good news that's been happening here. But of course, as you all know, I was the one who couldn't make it to the last school committee meeting, and I had sent some emails back and forth. Dr. Roger has been very good in getting back to me, which I was happy about. And I initially had some thoughts written down, but I'm going to temper them a little bit, only because I now have some context. And I think a lot of the parents who were there the last time didn't have that context. So I know that Mr. Jones, I don't mean to single you out specifically, but you had made a long sort of rant and diatribe, I would describe it, and I think many others in the audience viewed it, against URI, saying, where's URI? This is, in fact, when there was an email that was circulated when we had a letter in support from URI. Now, Mackenzie Montoya, that's my daughter. She's my first. I think the fact that this is the first time I'm going before a school committee is a good thing. I mean, really, the only time a parent comes before, in my view, a school committee is good news for, like Allie had, or something where there's a complaint. So I think that's a good thing to start. But with your comments, Mr. Jones, I think it put a lot of people off, and we're thinking that, the school committee is not even paying attention to emails that are being sent out. Because it's not as though the email was sent out at 6:59 on March 15th. This was something that was sent a day before at 1 o'clock that I had put a lot of work into, and I think a lot of people had done a lot of other background work with it. I've since received some correspondence, though, that I think we can agree on a lot more than disagree with. So I think with that said, I'm going to move on to my next point. Now, after listening to the presentation, I spoke to Dr. Roger, and he was very good about getting back to me with how this world language program was formed. And he alerted me to a particular document that's entitled 2017-2018 North Kingstown School Committee Goals. But what I found particularly troubling about this document, and again, this is something where all the parents don't have a lot of context, foreign language curriculum, it says, assess the district's foreign language programming and provide options that expands the depth and breadth for a single foreign language offering while enabling personalized learning options in the other languages. So that, to me, sounds like the district is really moving towards one language, and that's Spanish, because that's the most popular language, and personalized learning options. I don't know what that particularly is, but it sounds to me like it's online learning. So then I said, okay, this committee that gave the presentation, it's the World Languages Committee, it's put together. Who's this committee made up of? And again, all about context. I see the World Language Committee is made up of, it's Dr. Humbert, right? Dr. Morse. And then Dr. Morse, I went online. What does it say? Her dissertation is on virtual learning. It's Mr. DeLucia is on there, former Spanish teacher, 2 high school Spanish teachers. There's a middle school Spanish teacher, and then 2 others who I'm not exactly sure of their titles. But again, it seems like really the deck is stacked against German and the other languages that are offered. So then I move on to the presentation. So I think I speak for everyone here and everyone who was there at the last meeting.
One thing I usually say at the beginning is we do limit comments to 3 minutes.
Sure.
I'll let you wrap up. I hate interrupting people. I want to give people time, but you're over that, so you can go.
I'll stay after the meeting.
Then, yeah. I mean,
Sure, and I don't think there's anyone after me, right? So I just, maybe
No,
I could have,
The reason is, and I know I'm an attorney, and I know you're an attorney as well, it becomes an issue that if I were to allow the people that I want to hear have more time than people I don't, or vice versa, I need to treat everyone equally. So I don't mind if you wrap up where you're at, but I can't let you go on for a whole lot more than you have.
only have a few more
As long
points.
as you're wrapping up, we're good.
I am
Thank you.
getting there.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. No problem. So in terms of the presentation, I'll talk a little faster. But in terms of the presentation, you heard obviously the recommendation was not sustainable. I think we all can agree that foreign language in the younger grades is a great thing. But in terms of the slides, see, I can't wrap it up in in that time. So how about this? I'll speak to all of you after. If you're happy to stay, that's fine.
You can't
I think
talk
there's
to three of us. You could only talk to two.
two.
The Open
Okay.
Meetings Act. We can't have three people on the school committee discussing or dealing with school committee business unless it's an open meeting.
Sure.
Sorry, we don't make the rules. We just
And I understand. That's fine. And I can put the rest of it in an email, so it's very detailed.
We can,
I
answer your-
would like a response if I could too to the email, because I think there are a lot of points that need to be made with the presentation itself and the deficiencies with the presentation, because a lot of parents, after seeing that, they said, the deck is completely stacked against German, and the statistics that were used, only going back 3 years for a particular program that's been around for, as you know, over 40, is a very, very short time period to look at something that is sustainable. So I'll end with that, and I'll speak to a couple of you
And
after. Thank you.
I hate to have to cut people short, but we have to treat everyone the same.
Understood. Thank you.
So anyone else who has not signed up to speak who would like to speak? Okay, thank you. Next item on our agenda, we have reached, I lost my train of thought, okay. I need to have a motion to seal the executive session minutes of March 27, 2018. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Yes, so I know that. That's good. I lost my list up top. Can you just hand that back? And I can disclose that no votes were taken in this evening's executive session of March 27, 2018. Next, we have the consent agenda. Do any members have any items they would like to exempt from the consent agenda? I need to exempt E1 and E4. Any others? If I could have a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda, non-exempted consent agenda items. I have a motion, Ms. Huskin, second Mr. Jones. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous. With respect to the exempted items, I'll start with E1. I just exempted it because we have some names that were not in the agenda packets, so I will say, no, I have to double check, they're not in front of me. Do you remember, are these in addition to, or are these the
These are in
names?
addition
That's what I thought.
to,
Okay.
yes.
So in addition to the names that were in the agenda packet, under E1 for approval appointments of non-certified staff, approving this item would include Fred, I can't say the name, Bouchain, yeah, that looks right, and Jennifer Delbrois. I have the details here for you, I know you all saw them. So if I could have a motion to approve item E1 with those additions.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And next, with respect to E4, which is approval of coaches, we have the addition of Michael Cicerone, assistant boys baseball coach. So if I could have a motion to approve item E4 with that addition.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Unfinished business. We don't have Mrs. King here this evening, unless there's anyone else with questions on the 2017-18 school budget, 2018-19 school budget, our capital improvement plan, existing bond or future bonds. Yes, Mr. Jones.
Do have it on the bond. I know maybe Dr. Ogier can speak briefly. I know he went before the town council and did his.
I was there as well.
Yes, represented across the board, so thank you for those who went. And thank you to those in the audience who went and advocated. I just don't know if you could speak to where we are in terms of an FY18 bond.
Okay, so we had that discussion at the meeting. Nothing about a timeline at the particular meeting, but I did follow up with the town manager and a couple of folks on the town council, in fact. And it appears to me that an approval for that, one way or another, would likely happen in the month of April, if not, latest probably would be, I'm thinking the first week of May when they do a final approval on our budget. I think, they probably need to make some decisions for themselves about what they would like to bond, if anything. But I know that there are members of the town council who are kind of ready to have that conversation. So I'm hoping that this will be done within a month.
Okay, great, thank you.
And anything regarding any reports? So if not, we've reached the end of the agenda. I would ask for a motion to adjourn. A motion, I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
A good meeting to come to.